This interview is brought to you by Nutanix. The Nutanix platform drives government innovation by harnessing enterprise AI, simplifying VM container convergence, enhancing resilience and security for critical apps and data, and operating efficiently at scale across edge, private, public, and hybrid clouds. Nutanix, transforming today's technology for governments tomorrow.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Seibert, Managing Editor with GovCIO Media and Research. I'm at Nutanix NEXT in Washington, D.C., and I'm here with Sean O'Lone, the Chief Technology Officer for the Navy Business Group from SAIC. Thanks so much for joining me, Sean.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you've been at SAIC for a little less than a year, approaching a year, but before that you had a long career with the Navy, Department of Defense. So I was wondering if you could tell me more about your most recent position at the Navy, supporting the DON CIO, and what you were doing there, some of the most exciting things that you were working on.
Absolutely. So, my last job in the Navy was the senior military assistant to the DON CIO, Aaron Weiss, and then Jane Rathbun, the current CIO. And, it was a great opportunity, really learned a lot there. And really one of the most exciting things I got to do is, toward the end of my time there, is we were starting to pilot a new way of delivering IT to all of the customers throughout the Pentagon, and that is through the Flank Speed project and through Nautilus endpoints, which were a cloud-native device that really far outperformed the current IT inside the Navy. And we were just at the beginning of the pilot, and quite honestly, it's kind of one of the things that I was a little bit sad about leaving, is I didn't kind of get to see that all the way through. But I've talked to the folks there, and they have made so much progress, and they're deploying it, throughout the Pentagon, from what I hear, and it sounds like it's going really well. And I know one of my big things is I was really sad to give up that laptop. It really worked so well, and everybody I talk to who has one just loves the experience. And quite honestly, I wasn't sure that I'd ever get to deal with that stuff again. But I got lucky, and it turns out SAIC actually has some of the contracts, and I'm still getting to become involved in a small way with the deployment of NXP and some of those tools, which are going to bring this same experience level out all the way to the fleet on ships. So really excited about that.
Yeah, that is super exciting. One of the conferences we were recently at, a different one, but we interviewed Justin Finelli about the progress made at with Flank Speed, and it's super exciting to see how big of a success that has been. So.
Yeah, it is. I've never seen, so my 24 years in the Navy, I never saw kind of an revolution of that level, that speed. So it is very cool. Now, I know there are lots of people in the Navy who don't have it yet. And so sometimes to hear people saying that, it kind of almost falls on deaf ears. But I'm sure when they get it, they will be excited. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we talked about some of the successes. Maybe what makes it even bigger success is the historic challenges government has faced with modernizing, whether it's balancing budget, managing some of the security challenges while boosting innovation. So from your perspective, what are some of the top challenges that the Defense Department faces?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really no expert, but kind of the way I see it is, and I think they're just the incentives in the business sector, in industry, are different than when you're in government. And for all of those civilians and military officers who are doing great things, but are entrusted with the lives of our sailors, soldiers, Marines, airmen, all the taxpayers' money, all of the secrets inside of the federal government, all of those things, there is such an incentive to make sure that we are doing the absolute best with those tools and treasure. Mm-hmm. And that sometimes incentivizes not moving forward quickly. And I think that is the tough part. And I think in industry, for just about every company, there's always an existential threat of another company taking over their business. And because of that, it's driving them to constantly be moving forward. And sometimes that existential threat doesn't always make it down to all the folks who are having to make decisions. So it's not like one big thing. It's the thousands of tiny risks that people don't take because it's not in the best interest of what they're doing because of the incentive they've been given. And so that's kind of the way I see it. I don't think that's really groundbreaking, but and like I said, I'm no expert, but that's the way I see it.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of Jane Rathbun, we talked to her recently. The Department of Navy is really on this journey to accelerate software. So how do you see opportunities at the Navy or from that industry perspective in terms of partnerships to accelerate that software journey?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with just the larger geopolitical kind of following on to what I just said, the larger geopolitical landscape that's out there with countries like China and Russia, and with the pressures that are being put on by the current administration, it is really changing that incentive structure inside of the government for what is acceptable risk. And there is an opportunity right now to make to accelerate the work that's being done with flank speed into a lot of other areas. And so with that software change, the other part of this is in a lot of places throughout the federal government, we've eroded away some of the internal engineering expertise. And quite honestly, because of that lack of risk-taking over many, many years, the industry in a lot of cases has a lot more experience in some of these newest type of technologies and just ways of delivering software. And I think that's an area where we at SAIC and at Nutanix and other companies like that can really help the government move forward fast, right? There will be constant pressures. The danger is if anything goes wrong, right, people will have a need to slow down.
We're at Nutanix NEXT, so there's a lot of innovation that we're all talking about here in the different sessions. What are some of the things that you're most excited about looking into the future of defense IT?
Well, with Nutanix, and I couldn't be here yesterday for other meetings, but, I watched the video of the CIO for the Mercy and the Comfort get up on stage and talk about what he's doing with Nutanix and with those kind of small modular data centers that you can put, at the edge anywhere and are highly resilient and capable of doing the latest stuff that Google and all these other large companies are doing in data centers, and you can do them at your edge location, disconnected or connected. I think that is just ripe for possibility. There's so much that we can do and move forward for the federal government, for state and local governments, for just government in general. Yeah,
I totally agree. We interviewed him yesterday, actually. So it was an exciting conversation, and it's great to learn more about these different initiatives. So thank you for participating in the discussion and in the next phase of IT innovation. So thanks.
Okay, thank you.